allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Petra, would you mind calling the roll, please?
Chairman Cricket?
Here.
Mayor Labriola? Here. Mr. Moffett?
Here.
Ms. Tillerson?
Here.
Ms. Schubert? Here.
Everybody's here. Thank you. We have some minutes from our last meeting of September 6th. First, let me entertain a motion to accept these, and we'll discuss it. Is there a motion?
I'll move. So moved.
Second, please. Mr. Mayor. Any comments or corrections, additions to our minutes of September 6th? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have no old business, so we're going to move into two items of new business. I'm sorry.
No citizen comments.
Is there any citizens' comments relative to the agenda items? Seeing none, since there's no new business, old business, we're going to new business. Behind tab 2, we're going to talk a little bit about the state ATAX committee meeting and the funding request from them. Dorota?
Take your, yeah. Take the thing off. There you go. There you go. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Just
So last month, the State Accommodation Tax Committee met for the second time to disperse the funds that are designated for them. And because last year was the highest year or the best year as we collected the accommodation taxes, there was average of about $1 million that is still left in that fund, and we reopen applications to the applicants. And after the meeting, we have, or during the meeting, we have about $346,000 of new requests, and they were pretty much candidates that they were already funded in the first tranche, but was Andel Inn, Kiowa Resort, Town of Kiowa, and there was one new request from a lady that wants to have a program to promote history of Kiowa Island. And I believe you all have the copy of the applications for details. So how the process works is that after the presentation, the committee votes and individually, and I collect the information and average the votes and come with the amount recommended. And I made an error. Well, I was calculating, I rushed before presenting. I should have checked the numbers. So what you're seeing here, for one applicant, actually for the Town of Kiowa, us, I presented that the committee recommended the full amount, $20,500, and the committee actually voted on this amount. So, but it should be 10,000. The actual amount they should be voting on was 10,667. So I apologize for that error, but I just want to explain that the actual recommendation from the committee is 20,000 is the full amount. That's what they voted, but it was an error. But it was shown in error by me.
So,
Wait, I'm confused.
yeah.
So the committee.
What's the funding recommendation for that one?
It's 20,000, the full, but it was a wrong number. I presented the wrong number.
Good.
It should be 10,000. I mean, based on the averages, it should be 10,000, not 20,000. But they actually, voted 20,000. So I just want to make sure
So
that,
what
just
number
so
should be
that-
in the yellow column?
It should be the 10,000. But technically, the committee, when they voted,
they voted
they
on
did
20.
not realize, the two members who voted 0 didn't really look, they were walking away. So I guess they didn't realize that we put up the wrong number. So technically, they voted for the town to get
20,000.
fully funded, even though what they submitted to Dorota was 0. So when you average it out, there should have been only 10,000. So what Dorota is showing is not necessarily what the committee voted on, but what they actually submitted. Each
Should be.
individual person submits their
Right.
recommendation. So what she's actually showing for you guys' consideration is what we should have presented to the state ag tax committee, even though they voted on fully funded. You all, it comes to you as a recommendation, so you all can either agree when you vote to go with what you believe the state ag tax committee wanted, which is the 10,000, or you can make changes and make a recommendation to town council to make changes, for instance, to the individual who got the 8,000 or the town who got 10,000. You can say, well, we're going to go ahead and fully fund the town, or keep, however you want to move that around, you can.
But the
Stick with the
10,667 is a function of what, 2 people voting for 20,500 and 2 people voting 0?
Yes.
It was-
2 people said that the
No,
town.
there's a total of 6 people that
Well,
totally
whatever it
voted.
was,
Yeah,
it's simply an average. There were a couple people that voted 0.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Oh.
there were, well, yes.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
sweet of them. But the town had requested 20,500
That's correct.
out.
Right.
That's correct. And when they saw the final numbers, they saw 20,000. That's what I presented. And
They
they all
voted
voted
for
on it.
20,000.
No one said anything.
Yes.
All right.
Because
So
they
it was
didn't
discovered
realize it.
after the vote.
So
Okay, so
what
that's,
we need to consider, as this is a recommendation coming to us, we have to decide what we're gonna recommend to the town.
Correct.
My view is, but think about this, since the applicant was 20,000, and that's what I think we were voting on, right?
Yes.
Do we want to accept the 20,000? Not which,
Let me ask you,
which would fund the program.
can I ask another question just for
Sure.
clarity to understand? So, Dorota, with this 779,000 that's excess,
Yes,
that's still money that's left.
That's
That
correct.
could be allocated at some subsequent
correct.
time.
That's correct.
that's correct.
And it
So-
has to be used within 2 years.
So really we have, and we're gonna get more money at the end of the first year, so that's kind of a rolling number that sits out
Yes.
there. So right now we have $346,000 that was requested,
Yes.
of which we approved a number of 220.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we said, I guess I have a problem with the tab number 7 item, experience in the history of Kiowa Island. I'm not
Right.
sure why
Yeah,
we
let's
would
come
do
back to
But
that.
let's come back to that. That's a different question. I'm not sure, for me, it's not meaningful to take the 150,000 and make it 141,667. You know, that's seems to be an insignificant shortage that you there's a boatload of money there, just fully fund it. And fully fund the 20,500, and then we talk about this number 7 as to whether it's something that fits within the parameters of the SATAX funding or
Okay.
not.
All right, we can do that. Do you want to talk about the Reisenberg proposal then, before we act on all of it?
Let's do that, because then we probably just make one
Yeah.
fell swoop
Okay,
Right.
with the whole, so
so you read her,
I read all of this,
Proposal.
just in the last 30 minutes.
okay. Dorota, would you talk a little bit about her proposal and what she had proposed to do?
So I don't have the book, but it's a new program that she wants to offer on the island. Her proposal is, because it's new, maybe it's the majority of those funds will go towards her salary. There is some admin cost and some brochures, some advertising. And during the meeting, a lot of members also felt the same way, that because it's something new and we don't know if it's going to be successful on the island and if it's really going to bring heads in beds or attract people. They felt like at this being new, the majority of them felt like it shouldn't be funded from that fund. However, some offered for her to maybe should look for or seek different sponsors or
partnerships.
yes, partnership
If she
with,
could-
with others to see if there is something that she can do and come back maybe next year if this is a successful program, as this fund is really, it's really restricted. It's watched by the state, so it really has to be tourism related more than
And if I can,
admin.
and I can just add, you guys read this, one of the things when I met with her after she submitted and realized what she submitted, essentially what she's trying to do is create a historic preservation committee. And part of that commission was that she had decided that the town should purchase a schoolhouse, and that the town should do a number of things working through this committee. So, as Dorota said, the State Aid Tax Committee thought it could be a great idea, but they used the example of Art Council. If this is something that the community wants, then maybe she should start at a grassroots level and then see if it builds momentum. And if so, then maybe they come back either to the town and say, hey, we have this committee that we like the town to essentially pull into its municipal government world, and we will have a committee, we would fund it like the Arts Council, et cetera. So they kind of thought that she put the cart before the horse, and most of her funding, a good portion of her funding right now is really dealing with admin costs, because she wasn't even sure about, who would be on the committee, who would appoint the committee. Is this be a committee of the town, or is this just be a separate 501c3 group? A lot of those answers were not yet addressed. So, for whatever reason, I don't know why the committee kind of felt like 8,000. I think what they tried to do is kind of maybe pull out some things that they thought they could fund as a state aid tax committee, but a lot of her work in order for this to happen really is personal funding.
But in actual fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but this 8333 isn't an amount that anybody on the committee said give to her.
No,
It's
it
really
was-
somebody voted that we should consider
It's
this.
the
and then
average.
That's
it's a
correct.
pro rata share.
It
of
was one
8,300.
member. Yeah, it was
So,
one member.
my point of view is that it ought to be zero.
Why don't you make a motion?
All right, I move that we fully fund the application requests for all but this line number tab number 7, and that should be zero. That's my motion.
Thank you. Is there a second to that?
Well, I agree. I'll agree. Second.
Okay, there's a motion. All those in favor,
Well, now we'll do comments?
comments, I'm sorry.
My
Mr.
2
Mayor,
cents.
Comments.
I think that on the basis of the source of the funding being state aid tax is appropriate. However, Steph, I would just encourage you to talk with her. I think the issue of history is of paramount importance. And I think if we have some individual who is willing to spend time and energy, albeit with some funding to compensate her for time and effort, would be money well spent. Town's getting older. Once time goes on, things will be lost, they'll be misplaced, people will forget. This is a good time, this may be a good time to really start capturing those things, and then you have them, and we have them.
Yeah.
Whether in form or in substance or on paper or photographs or pictures or whatever. So I guess I would really encourage you to work with her, and if it's funding out of the general fund or funding out of something that we can keep this moving along.
Yep.
Okay, that's, I don't disagree with the state aid tax, but okay, all right.
Other comments? John? No?
Okay, thank you.
All those, thanks, Dorota. All those in favor of accepting John Moffitt's proposal, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. The motion passes. So we'll be spending the.
It came to
whatever, I won't do the
230,500.
math. Yeah. chairman has no additional report.
We have
we
line
have
B under new
Lou.
business.
I'm sorry, forgot all about it. The Lou Hammond Group. Chris, sorry, didn't mean to do that to you, buddy.
Good afternoon. I have the ladies here from Lou Hammond Group to support me here, but in June 2022, Town Council approved a 3-month contract with Lou Hammond Group to provide consulting services to the town and the communications department. With the 3-month contract ended in September 27th, the communications department would like to continue our partnership with Lou Hammond Group. Over the past 3 months, the Lou Hammond Group, they worked with us to really push out materials on the Cape, Captain Sam Spit, the development agreement, the Arts Council RFP, Andel West, and a whole wide range of other communications topics that arose during the 3-month period that we were under contract. Addition to the communications materials, they also worked with us to develop the development resource page that has proved to be very valuable here at the town. Moving forward, the communications team would like the opportunity to continue its working relationship for the additional 9 months with Lou Hammond Group on the strategic communications plan and other communications needs that need to come up, that may come up in the next 9 months. So that said, staff requests Ways and Means to recommend to Town Council the approval of the 9-month contract extension with Lou Hammond Group for $67,500 beginning October 1st through June 30th, 2023.
Thank you. Questions of Chris?
Or myself or Lou Hammond Group. One thing that I would like to add, in addition, in terms of the reason why we think it's so important to continue our working relationship with the Lou Hammond Group, is that we're also looking to be proactive, looking into the future, work with them on things that we can push out to help with the town discussing kind of the municipal world, explaining, executive sessions, why we have them, what is, what's allowed under the FOIA requirement. We can also, maybe push out other, of course, there'll be other future projects that's gonna come down the pipe, but ideally what we would like to kind of shift focus. So our first 3 months, I think, was in the mode of really kind of being reactive to things. And of course, creating this development resource page that we constantly update. But moving forward, we would like to, they have proposed essentially a strategic calendar. Excuse me, our communication team is fairly new. And so I would like to be able to allow them the ability to have this experienced team for 9 more months to really look at how can we proactively use our tools that we have, our newsletter, our podcasts that we do, our town notes that we do, our e-blasts that we do, all these other resources. So really the goal over the next 9 months is to really kind of be more proactive in our communication approach. And then, of course, there's going to be things that pop up that we'll need assistance with.
I think
And
it's,
if there's anything.
Chris, as an observer of the complexity of communications today, this will sound funny, but back in the old days, right? The American public could sit down and listen to, take your pick, Walter Cronkite at 6 o'clock and figure they got all the news there is. Well, that isn't true today. A lot of people don't listen to the television news or don't listen to the radio news. They get their information through a variety of sources.
Social media.
We need to better understand those resources. We need to better utilize them. We need to make sure that we're in touch with all the people in this community, whether they're residents or non-residents, and make sure we're doing a really good job communicating the issues we face, the difficulties we face, and the opportunities there are on the island. And if this group can help us, that'll be good, because I grew up in the Walter Cronkite area. That was different. I don't understand it as well as I could. So we need to work on it. So.
And if you'd like to hear from Kelsey and her team, they are here to make any comments.
Can you add to that, please?
Would you like to go and add?
Say a couple words. How you can help us.
Good afternoon. My name is Kelsey Donnelly. I work with Lou Hammond Group. Really would just like to mirror what Chris and Stephanie said. We've had the opportunity to work with the town for the past 3 months, and we've learned a lot about like you mentioned, the different opportunities and also the different challenges that the team has. And so, our proposal, like Stephanie mentioned, was really a cohesive strategic communications plan with an element of public relations. And really, like Stephanie mentioned, the creation of an annual strategic content calendar that really looks at every single opportunity. If it's podcasts, if it's, we're not in the era of Walter Cronkite anymore, so we have to pay attention to the different social media pages that are floating around in the different forums and the different way that we can communicate with all of the residents, all of the complexities that the town has to communicate. So we put a plan together, and we're confident that we can work with Chris and Shai and the team and implement it and get some great results.
Great. Any other comments, questions?
No, none.
All right.
I move that we,
Recommend
I
this.
recommend that we, to town council, disapproval.
And I'll second.
Second, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Chris, thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor of recommending this to council, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the motion passes. I have no additional comments. Rhoda? You don't have anything additional. Citizens' comments. Any of you? Thank you. Committee members? Yes, Rhoda.
We actually got a notification, we got the second tranche from that American Rescue Plan money, the $440,000 that will
Ah.
probably be deposited this week.
Great. Money
Second
from
of,
the federal government.
Second of, it was 8.
Just two.
the second, the
Yeah.
second, the second, last one.
Yeah,
second and
the
final,
last
yeah.
one.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Any comments, gentlemen?
No.
All right,
I move we adjourn.
move we adjourn, second?
Support.
Thank you. We're adjourned, thank you.
And we
Council
will-
will start in a
Few minutes.
couple of minutes, maybe
I just
2
have to
minutes.
go grab my other book. I left it.